appropriate that I petition the Chief Judge to get the warrant quashed. And what happened is I was extremely frustrated at this point. They were stealing my house. I had the IRS. It was like a feeding frenzy. So if anybody has ever gone through that, they know what the feeding frenzy can be like. And I know people that are going through it right now. So I know 100% what you're talking about, because it was like they're coming at me from everywhere. And so what happened is the attorney, the Assistant Attorney General responded in that lawsuit, basically went through and accused me of being a plaintiff and all this other stuff. And I told him in my paperwork, I'm not a plaintiff, I'm not a person, I'm a petitioner. You know, I went through and I was very careful about, you know, that I'm not this. And then she accused me of being a plaintiff. Well, then I filed a criminal complaint against her. Okay, for perjury of oath and treason, sedition, all that stuff, right? The very next piece of paper, this is the first one that I ever did, okay? The very next piece of paper that she filed into the case said, I got transferred, somebody else has taken over this case. Yeah, I'm telling you, you don't have any idea how powerful these things are. And again, you have to complain. Again, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? And so anyways, on May 11th of 2009, I received a photo radar ticket from the Arizona Department of Public Safety. My son was driving the truck, and I rejected their offer of contract. I sent notice and demands to the court, the judge, and the mayor, and the case disappeared. And the reason I know it disappeared is when I got in that car accident, there was no record of that at all. And so then what happened is, because I got in that car accident, I had to rent a car, right? That's the only time I ever pull out the straw man's driver's license to rent a car, and I had to rent a car, and they got me on photo radar. And so they got me on photo radar, and so what happened is they sent me a photo radar ticket. And I sent notice and demands to the DPS officer, the Director of Public Safety, the Attorney General, and the judge. And then, you know, I was just feeling belligerent, and I didn't give them 30 days. I filed a criminal complaint right away, and against all of them, for perjury of oath, treason, sedition to the Constitution. They canceled the photo radar program. And the Arizona Attorney General, Terry Goddard's no longer in office, and he was replaced by this former Judge Tom Horn. And they sent me notice that they're canceling the straw man's driver's license. And I ought to show you that. That's pretty interesting. Here's the document, and I'll pass this around if anybody wants to look at it. This is the original. You notice I'll pass it around, we'll talk about it here. Anyways, the criminal complaint, I sent it into the court, and they're saying basically, we received correspondence regarding your affidavit of criminal complaint, your request is denied, and then notice this, okay? They're telling me that the straw man has to pay him $251, and then it says here, see the stuff that's lined out? It says may result, okay, may result in the issuance of a warrant for my arrest, okay? And then the other part is a warrant for your arrest may be issued by the court, okay? So they lined out anything saying that a warrant for arrest might be issued. And then the rest of it says they're going to suspend the license. Well, I couldn't care less, eh? Anyways, yeah, here it is. It says, I understand the failure to comply with this payment order may result in the issue of a warrant for arrest. A warrant for arrest may be issued by the court, and that's it. And otherwise, they're going to suspend the license. Anyways, here's where they canceled the photo radar program. And then here's the letter I got from the Department of Transportation Inspector General's office. And if you read down here, it says, they want me to come in and prove that I'm a U.S. citizen. Well, you know, good luck with that. They can go ahead. You know, in Arizona, the driver's license doesn't expire till you turn 65, eh? My son is 20 years old, and his driver's license doesn't expire for another 40 years, eh? I'm serious. And so you know, why would I want to get rid of that? I mean, that's the one thing I'm not going to, you know, they can go ahead and cancel as long as I can use it to rent a car. I don't care. And yes.
The photo tickets that they give for you running red lights and stuff that they've got around Fort Worth and Dallas and stuff, they will send you you don't pay the ticket, all they can do is come back and say, you know, hey, you owe us this money, they can't arrest you, don't go, it's just...
Nothing, yeah.
Yeah. And they'll send the bill collector after you for their money.
Yeah.
That's all they'll do.
Yeah, no doubt.
Get a ticket from one of those, you can basically ignore it. The bill collector may bug you a few times. In my case, they didn't even do that.
They're looking for a voluntary donation. They're looking for a voluntary donation, huh?
Yeah.
Did you have to pay us $251?
Well, they wanted it from the straw man, but I didn't pay it. Why would I do that?
Well, yeah, why would you? Okay. I didn't know.
Anyways, so I don't know, they might have canceled it. I don't care. As long as I can use it to rent a car, that's all that matters to me. In December 2009, I was in a car accident in Arizona, and I already told you about that, where the cops went and pulled up that warrant and made all sorts of threats, but never did anything. And then Nelson's traffic stops, I already told you about that, because they always asked him, you know, who owns this truck, and he'd say, my dad does, and then they'd never give him a ticket. In July 2010, City of Lethbridge stopped me and gave their straw man a ticket for no driver's license. There's no requirement in Alberta for a living soul to get a driver's license. I filed three criminal complaints against them, and then filed, a petition of right in the Court of Queen's Bench with the criminal complaints attached. And that's actually this lawsuit right here. Right here. And it's 350 pages total, and it's a good example of a lawsuit. This is the reason I did it up like that. So as part of the package, as part of the triple combination package, if you read back there, it's a lawsuit. So you'll have everything basically that you need to do a lawsuit, and the arguments and all the rest of it, because it doesn't matter whether it's Canada or U.S. It's all U.S. anyways. Canada's part of U.S. I use mostly U.S. case law. Threw in a little bit of Canadian stuff, but it's mostly U.S. anyways. The thing about Canada is you can use Magna Carta and stuff like that, and that's used in there. But the principles are the same, and I just dump on them. I accuse them of conspiracy to commit murder because I tell them I have the right to resist an unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary, and none of their arrests are lawful, you know. And so therefore they're hoping to catch me on some lonely stretch of highway where they can commit murder and get away with it with no witnesses, you know, that kind of thing. Commit their unlawful arrest, and then I'll resist. I'll exercise my right to resist their unlawful arrest, and then they'll have an excuse to murder me. And you see what I'm saying? And so that's it. I just get up in their face and I just did all sorts of stuff. Matter of fact, in court that day, with the City of Lethbridge's attorney, I said to him, I said, why don't you just get your hired thugs to take me out back and blow my brains out right now? And he says, oh, I don't think that'd be appropriate. I told him, I says, well, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. So either way, I won't be doing it. And so then he says, well, I don't think that'd be appropriate. And I says, well, no, you want to catch me out on some lonely stretch of highway where there's no witnesses. And you know, he didn't say anything to that. You know what I mean? But so again, do you know who you are? You know, are you gonna just roll over to them? Are you gonna let these thieves make legal determinations for you and represent you and all the rest of it? You know, that's essentially what they're doing. They're just nothing but criminals. And once you understand that, you know, you have to be prepared to get up in their face, you know, because I mean, I don't take orders from criminals, and that's one thing I put in my lawsuit too, is that I'm not showing up at your show trial. I said I don't take orders from criminals.
So actually, if a police officer comes up and tries to arrest you for a traffic violation, you being a sovereign man or sovereign soul, you can resist with lethal force because he is making an unlawful arrest, because he doesn't have the right to do that?
You can. I'm not saying I'd recommend it. I don't have.
Well, I know.
I don't carry a gun because I don't want anybody to think that I'm using it. Okay, so I don't want it to become an issue. So I have a gun, but I put it away, and I have, you know, a couple actually, but I put them away because I don't want that to become an issue. And that's what happened actually. The reason the FBI and the Texas Department of Public Safety came to see me is because I sent the Montana Director of Public Safety and the Montana Attorney General letters telling them that I was going to resist their unlawful arrest with lethal force if necessary. And so what, that's why they came to see me, and they were concerned that I was going to create an incident. And I said, well, I said that'd defeat the purpose. I said, it's my government, these are my public servants. I said, why would I do that? I said, it's a form of estoppel, is what it is, okay, if you think about it, because it puts them in the position of first of all, now they can't commit an unlawful arrest. If it's a lawful arrest, then I have nothing to say about it. You see what I'm saying? But now it puts them in a position that it's very difficult for them to commit an unlawful arrest, and most of their arrests are unlawful, you know. And that's really, you know, I can show you court cases, Supreme Court cases, to say that you have the right to be left alone too. And so, you know, again, so it's a form of estoppel, is what it is. And I put them in a position to where I got them, you know. And that's why I got that Pennsylvania Attorney General removed. And that's why, you know, they put me down as sovereign in their system, you know, because they know they don't have any authority to do anything, you know. And but again, you have to tell them that. Do you know who you are? That's really what it comes down to. And so they didn't bring dinner in, lunch I should say. So I tell them that I didn't appear at their show trial, and matter of fact, I didn't bring their conviction notice in. I left that at home. But there's actually I'm preparing a criminal complaint against the judge now, and I'm going to dump all over him and probably get him removed for convicting straw man. But at a minimum, I guarantee you that judge's career is finished, okay? He may not get removed, but he will never ever go anywhere, okay? And that's what you have to do, okay? I mean, if people start standing up to these criminals and start putting them back in their place, then it's going to help the next guy. It may not help me, but it'll help the next guy, and that's the bottom line, because otherwise, if you think about it, if I don't do something, then I'm at least partially responsible when they go and violate the next guy's rights. So I have to. So anyways,
enough of us do it, it puts them in their place.
That's right. That's right. You know, in Ontario, you know what happened in Ontario is in Ontario they had photo radar for about 3 months. And a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people know they had photo radar for 3 months, but they don't know why it stopped. And somebody told me why it stopped. And you know why it stopped? Why they don't do photo radar in Ontario? Because they had, in that 3 months, they had 250,000 court cases. And they can't handle that. They're looking just to get the revenue, right? And so they don't, it doesn't matter that whether they're all off point or not, the people just said, no, we're not doing it, period. You know? And so they said, okay, well, I guess we better do something else. You know? They're in business to make money. They're not in business to have court cases. You see what I'm saying? And that's, if enough people stand up, you don't even have to be on point. If enough people stand up, their game is up. They know that the power is in the hands of the people. It's always been. But we the people are so dumbed down and you know, about who we are. We don't know who we are. We really don't. And that's what happens. So anyways, what happened in Alberta is the perjurer on the bench, and that's what I called him too, by the way. The perjurer on the bench entered a plea for their straw man and set it down for trial. I told them in my criminal complaints I don't take orders from criminals, and I will not appear at their show trial, and I didn't. And they convicted their straw man. The fine was $172, same as what was on the ticket. I called up the clerk and asked if they had issued a warrant. They said no. They said it would be handled by the Department of Motor Vehicles. Well, in Alberta it says it right on the ticket even. And I didn't bring the conviction notice in. Let's see if it's here. Oh, yeah, okay. It says, if you read the bottom fine print of the citation, it says, quote, if you fail to respond to this offense notice as required by law by the appearance date indicated above, or if you plead not guilty and fail to appear in person or by agent on your trial date, you will be deemed not to dispute the charge, and you may be convicted of the offense in your absence without a hearing. If you are convicted until the fine plus any late payment charges are paid in full, you will not be allowed to obtain or renew a driver's license or motor vehicle license. That's all that's going to happen.